Now, there's an analogy that I like to use with this particular topic, and it's that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. As an investor who has had some fantastic investments throughout the last 5 years, I'm going to be explaining to you money habits that keep you poor, while also explaining how to implement these tips and tricks to improve your financial success in the future going forward. Okay, so we've gone through the title of the video. An investor is going to explain to you, money habits keeping you poor, and I'm going to explain to you how you can change that to improve your financial lifestyle. Now, my investing experience has amassed over the last 5 years. I've got a successful portfolio which has a very diversified portfolio with multiple investment vehicles. I've been successful in the fact that I'm a long-term, low-risk investor. So that's my experience. Let's get on with my top 5 money habits keeping you poor. Okay, so coming in at number 1 in no particular order is income and expenses. For me, this is very important, and I put it at number 1 because I wanted to get this out of the way first, because I think it should come first when you're trying to get your finances in order. Now, finding your order, your place. To do this, something I use is called an income statement and a balance sheet. Now, I first learned about this from the financial book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a fantastic financial book which really helps you learn about investing and how to be good with your money. Now, how does this income statement and balance sheet work? Well, it's actually very simple. The income statement is your income versus your expenses, and the balance sheet is your assets versus your liabilities. Now, what is this and what's the point in doing it? Well, firstly, you need to sit down and create this sheet. It's very simple. Simply write down income versus expenses. Then write down all of your incomes versus all of your outgoings, all of your expenses. And this will give you a real eye shot of your lifestyle. How much money you have coming in versus how much money you have going out. And the same goes for the balance sheet. It's very important. Assets versus liabilities. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, assets are generically something that puts money into your pocket, while liabilities are something that take money out of your pocket. And by doing this, by writing these down and looking at it on paper, you can actually work out what's putting money into your pocket and what's taking money out of your pocket. And this helped me really figure out where I am in my own financial standing. I highly recommend it, and I think it's very important. Okay, so moving on to the next money habit keeping you poor is control your spending. Now, there's a thing called lifestyle inflation, and this basically means your spending will always rise alongside your income when it rises. You always want more, essentially. We've all been that person that says, I would love more money. And then when you do get that more money, you only want more. And the lifestyle inflation really hits home with that, because it is true to the fact that when your income increases, typically your spending increases. So you really need to monitor that and find out where you are and match your lifestyle with your income. Try not to live a champagne lifestyle on a lemonade wage. Another way to control your spending is a budget tracker. In many ways, for me, my method is to segregate accounts in my own bank account. For example, I have a bills account, an allowance account, a savings account, and a spare account. The bills account has an allocation of money that goes in every single month. The allowance account is a budget that I allow myself to spend on lifestyle, enjoyment in life. That's always the same. The savings account is a temporary holding account for funds that are due to be invested, and the spare account is for outgoings or emergency funds. Maybe the boiler goes or you need a new shower. For me, budgeting and using a budgeting tracker in that sense is very, very helpful. There are multiple different ways. You can use Monzo accounts, which will track every single penny you spend. But for me, I prefer simplistic, simple method approach where I'm in full control of where my money is being allocated. And also, another way to control your spending is have delayed gratification. Often we make spontaneous purchases to get that dopamine effect of feeling good. However, I do try to find myself giving myself more time, sleeping on it, delaying that gratification. And 9 times out of 10, you wake up the next day and you find, do you know what? I don't need it, or I'm not really that bothered. It was a spur of the moment thing. So delayed gratification, a very, very useful tool for controlling your spending. Moving on to number 3, we're going to talk about saving here. Now, there is a cap on how much you can save, but there is no cap on how much money you can make. And this comes back to your income statement, your income versus your expenses. When it comes to saving, you can only save what you can afford to save, but there's no cap on the amount of money you make. So saving is important because it allows you then to allocate money to good investment vehicles, whether they're low, medium, or high risk. But if you haven't got a lot of income coming in, you can only save so much. So it's also important to focus while trying to save on continually trying to get that income to come in, because you can increase that saving amount. It's important to think how you're going to save, then where you're going to invest that money. Like I said earlier on, I have an allocation account that states it's a savings account. I personally do not like to hold money in my bank account if I can help it. That's just a temporary holding fund for my investment money. I use it as a temporary savings and then I transfer it over to investments. And something else to remember is that money isn't real. Try not to get attached to the big number that starts accumulating in your bank account or in your investments. I've fallen to this multiple times in my early days as an investor, seeing big numbers. I didn't want to touch it because it looked lovely sitting in the account. But for me, that's dead money. I want my money to be working for me. Every pound, I want to be a worker working for me in my business. Moving on to number 4, taxes. Now, this is a bit of a subject that's quite touchy, but for me, I'm a big believer in utilizing the tax benefits that are there. Now, let me emphasize on legal tax benefits. We're only talking about legal here, but you can really, really utilize taxes to your advantage. Firstly, having a good accountant. That's so important. I pay more than the average rate for my own accountant, but it is so worthwhile because he has really, really got the best knowledge and allows me to make the most of my money. So having a good accountant is very, very good. And the tax benefits are there to be used. For example, not many people know this, but at least in the United Kingdom, every year you can claim back for washing your own work clothes, whether you work for a company or you're self-employed. Whether you're a self-employed man in a van, you can claim back on your fuel, your mileage. So there is a lot of tax benefits to be utilized, and there is a bit of a tabooness around taxes and people who are wise and smart with that. But at the end of the day, it's legal and it's there to be utilized. And if you're trying to be financially successful, you need to use every tool in your toolbox to help you on your journey. Finally, number 5 of money habits keeping you poor is really important. Waiting too long to invest. Now, there's an analogy that I like to use with this particular topic, and it's that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. And that's so, so true. I've fallen to this multiple times in my past, my early days as an investor. I used to wait for the price of gold bullion, my investment vehicle in commodities, to drop, for it only not to drop, and then I'd buy that precious metal, that commodity later on anyway, at a higher price. So it's really important to realize that time is your ally. And when it comes to investing, time is extremely important. You can make much better investments, especially in the long term, if you utilize time. And also, waiting too long to invest because you're scared? Well, diversify, spread your risk, and also spread your potential chance of yielding greater results. Invest in a low risk, medium risk, and a high risk investment vehicle. Spread your risk. Don't put all of your investments in one basket. That's really important when it comes to investing and not waiting too long to invest. But that's been my top 5 habits keeping you poor. That's my experience. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. But overall, that's been the whole episode on this video. I hope this serves as motivation. Don't forget that, money is important, but if you've got health, you've got wealth, and everything else is a bonus. So let's not get too caught up in everything, but let's hope this video serves as motivation and you can take something away from this. I want to leave you with something to think about, and it's that 80% of millionaires are self-made and your friends are your future. Think about that. Think about your network and your own goals and plans. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you in the very next episode. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.